The statements made within this plant series are purely informational. These statements or anything discussed throughout this series are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. I am not a doctor, nor do I claim to be. It is advised that if you have any pre-existing medical conditions or take prescribed medication, talk to your doctor or local herbalist before using any plants. Make sure that you can identify a plant 100% before working with it, for I will not be held responsible. Use at your own risk. Hey witches, welcome back to the channel. It's the Wyld Wytch here. I hope that you're all doing amazing. I hope that you, your family, and friends were not affected by this weather we've been having. I hope everybody is safe and sound. So welcome back to another video in the plant series. For today, we're going to talk about Ipomoea cordatotriloba. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but Ipomoea cordatotriloba is also known as tievine, purple bindweed, and cotton morning glory. Now, around here, everybody pretty much calls her morning glory. So that's typically what I say if someone around here asks me what this plant is. I typically just say, morning glory, because I don't want to confuse anyone. But also because if you're new to identifying wild plants, then I want you to be able to see that correlation between morning glory and Ipomoea cordatotriloba, because they both have that trumpet-shaped flower, as well as some more characteristics that we're going to get into later. But everybody knows what morning glories look like, and they associate that trumpet-shaped flower, with morning glories. And Ipomoea cordatotriloba also has that same trumpet shape. So it just really makes the identification process a lot easier. Now, if you do watch this plant series, more than likely you've already seen this plant. I did show her in one of the plant walks. I really can't remember which one it was, but I do know that I did show her, and again, I did call her Morning Glory. So you could see that correlation. So hopefully by the time that I did the video on her, it would help you to identify her and, see those characteristics a lot easier. So I typically call this plant, though, tievine, because that's what I know her as. That's what I call her, when I'm working with her. And I feel like she does have a different energy than my garden morning glory. So for the sake of this video, we're just going to call her tievine. Now, tievine is a slender yet very, very aggressive perennial vine that you can find on the ground, but more often than not, you're going to find her doing what she loves, climbing all over fences, trees, shrubs, and other vegetation. She will literally climb over and tie up anything that gets in her way or on her path, kind of like the last plant that we talked about in the series, Galium aperine, which is also known as cleavers. Now, you can often find tievine in disturbed areas along roadways, near railroad tracks, in disturbed or abandoned fields and pastures, in meadows, thickets, and what I call the in-between places. So your hedgerows, your field margins, your wooded fence lines, and where civilization ends and the wild woods begin. I personally find that tievine is a very unique plant. She has these simple alternating leaves where one is heart-shaped, just like morning glory, and the other one is trilobed or three lobes that really looks like a goddess to me. It reminds me of like a goddess figure. Make sure to comment down below and let me know if I'm just crazy, or what. But also it reminds me of like a heart that's been broken. Like you can tell it was once a heart, but it's been shattered, and then like it's been pieced back together, but maybe there's a few pieces missing here and there, so it doesn't necessarily form that heart shape anymore. Now, tievine can produce over 500 seeds per plant, which is just freaking wild. And those seeds can lie dormant on the ground for over 20 years because of this thick coating that she has on the seeds. Now, if you do harvest some seeds or you purchase some and you want to grow them, make sure that you allow those seeds to soak in some warm water. I normally do it overnight. You can do it for 24 hours before sowing. Now, she also has these 1 to 2 inch pinkish purple, purple lavender, colored trumpet-shaped flowers that have those 5 distinct lines that form a pinnacle, just like your morning glories that you grow in your garden. So your um, heavenly blues, your common morning glories are Ipomoea purpurea, even your moonflowers and sweet potatoes. Now, not yams. I'm not talking about yams. I'm just talking about sweet potatoes. And the reason is because they all belong to the Convolvulaceae family. Now, tievine, um, she can grow over 10 to 12 feet in height, and she has a 15-foot spread. Now, she's not woody. You'll notice that the vine is a greenish, purplish color. It's very flexible. You can tie things up with her. She's a very bendy. So, like I said, she's not woody at all, which is one of the reasons why she's so great at binding, because she'll tie everything up and you don't have to worry about the vine breaking. So tievine also has these tuberous roots that really anchors down deep into Pachamama, Mother Gaia, Mother Earth, whatever it is you call this place we live. But she really anchors down normally over 10 feet, and then she branches those roots out. She can regrow with just a tiny root clip, and she can create a whole new plant, which really pisses people off. I've heard of people chopping her down, pouring oil on her, setting her on fire and dousing her in chemicals, but no. Tievine is tenacious. She is persistent. She is stubborn. She is hard-headed. So she just keeps coming back over and over and over. It's like you cannot kill this plant, which is beautiful in my eyes because I absolutely love tievine. I have a very close connection with tievine. I work with her a lot. I feel like she's the plant version of myself. I know that might sound weird, but I really feel that way. We do have a really strong bond. She is hard-headed as hell, though. She is wild. She's independent. She likes to do her own thing. She does not like you to fuss over her. Like a lot of my plants like to be baby. They're very needy. They want all of my attention, but not her. Like, I don't even water her. I don't groom her. I don't do anything. Like I said, I let her do her own thing, and that's what she loves. She loves to be wild. She loves to do her own thing. So that's what we do. Now, I would suggest to not planting her in your vegetable garden or your herb garden, because if you do, she will literally take over. She will choke out any plant like in your garden. She'll tie it up. So if there's something that you want to keep, don't plant tievine in your garden or in your like your vegetables, or your herbs. So sorry guys, every time I do a video, I wish my camera was turned around, because every single time I do a plant series video, there's these 3 little birds that sit in the window, and they're like trying to get my attention, and they always mess me up. So I apologize guys if I keep looking over there, because they're in my windowsill right now, and they're so cute. They're so cute. But anyway, I'm sorry. They always mess me up. And you know what? I'm probably not even going to edit this out. I'm just going to leave it in there. Because I think the last video I made too, some birds were in my windowsill. They get in here all the time. But anyway, let's get back to tievine. All right, so tievine, she has a long bloom time, and she even will produce a lot of flowers as long as she's healthy, but it doesn't require a lot. Like, she's very drought tolerant too, but her bloom time is really going to depend on where you live, like what that time frame looks like. For me personally, I typically see her bloom from March to the very end of September. Now, there has been times where she's bloomed up until December, so it's really going to, depend on where it is that you live. I believe in Florida she blooms year-round, and her flowers are a much deeper shade of purple than what grows here in my area. You'll also notice that the center of tievine is a really, really deep shade of purple, whereas a lot of morning glories, now not all, but a lot have that white center or a yellowish center. Now, she's native to the southeastern United States, Mexico, and South America. So, just do a little research, check and see what that time frame is for her blooming. Now in some places she is considered an invasive species, like in Georgia, and the reason for this is because she is so aggressive. She is so wild, and she has a really fast growth. Like, she takes over everything. I know in some places she's also considered a noxious weed, like in Arizona and Arkansas. Now, don't quote me on this because it has been a while that I've done research on tievine, like several years. But I believe in Arizona it's illegal to grow tievine. So check your areas before, planting tievine, to see if it's illegal or not, or to see if, they want you to grow tievine. She is native to where I live. She's considered a native species, so I grow her all over the place. I love her. But anyway, tievine, she really does like the sun, but she also likes the shade. I've noticed that her favorite time is going to be in the morning. She loves the morning sunshine, and I feel like she even wakes up the sun. She starts to unwind her petals to open up in the morning around dawn, and then by the evening time she starts to wilt and close back up. She likes to suck them to slumber so she can transverse the underworld. I feel like she's the queen of dawn and dusk and the in-between. She's like the wild woman of the plant world. She's the rebel. So I typically work with all parts of tievine, all parts of this plant. So for me, she's amazing at bindings. Of course, if you've worked with morning glories, then you know how great morning glories are at bindings, and so is tievine. She's absolutely amazing. She's also excellent for matters of the heart and all types of journeys. So you can think of tievine as like, she's the plant that ties the bridge that we can access to the other world and other realms. So I work with the vine for journeying, so for crossing the hedge, for astral travel, path walking, but also for boundaries, and for protection. I work with the flowers for love spells, for working with the fae, for death and rebirth, and the ego. I work with, also, I almost forgot. I also work with the flowers to represent the maiden, mother, and crone. So the maiden would be those before she blooms, so before she's fully opened. The mother is in full bloom, and then the crone aspect is when the color starts fading on those petals. She starts to wither and withdraw, and so she's going inward. She's going to transverse the underworld, the other planes. So that's a big part of flowers for me as well. Let's see. I work with the roots for grounding, for tenacity, persistence, strength, prosperity. I work with the leaves for love spells, for pretty much matters of the heart. So like I said, your love spells, to mend a broken heart, and for workings that I'm doing, like healing workings for heart related medical conditions. Um, let's see, oh, the seeds. I work with the seeds for intuition, visions, dream magic, lucid dreaming, and connecting with my ancestors and nature spirits. So I really, sorry, my eyes itching. I really feel like tievine is very similar to morning glories in the aspect that she can bring joy or wrath. You know, it just depends on what it is that you're wanting to accomplish, what energy it is that you're wanting to work with. But she does both. Um, so right now, I'm not going to get into the medical, really the medical um, aspects of tievine, the medicinal aspects, because I'm still working on those. I've only been working with tievine for a couple of years. So I don't want to get into those yet. So I wouldn't recommend ingesting any part of tievine. I know some species of morning glories, you can ingest those. They do have some medicinal properties. The seeds have some hallucinogenic effects as well, but I just don't want to get into that yet because I'm still working with her through those processes. So we're just going to leave that off. Maybe later on down the road, I'll do an update video and include that information. But I just feel like it's safest right now for me to say do not ingest any part of this plant at all. Alright guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you stay tuned to part 2 of this video, which will come out sometime this week or the end of the week, maybe even the very beginning of next week. I'm not really sure how this is going to work out. My son just started school back from his birthday celebrations, and we had an amazing time, by the way. Anyway, until next time, fly high, witches. Peace, homies.